What's the one defining moment that you're both looking forward to?
So the goal between all of us and the first team management team, we've set out our goal of trying to win promotion this season.
Me and Fabs walked out and went, "Jeez, what an absolute shit show."
Just follow us on this journey. It's going to be up and down. It's going to be hectic, but yeah, it's going to be so exciting.
What's the dream then?
It's funny you say that. We were talking about that
Exactly.
up here.
Yeah.
You know, no one's going to hide mine and Fabian's passion for football, and this is where we belong. And hopefully, you know, we'll do the club proud.
This episode of All Things Business, the podcast, is brought to you by digital media partner DFA Law. DFA Law, providers of expert and dedicated legal advice to businesses and families since 1838. DFA Law, the law firm for life.
Gentlemen, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Have you done one of these before?
No.
I don't think so, no.
I watched a few, but
Yeah?
I haven't done a podcast now.
Well, first of all, we'll just do introductions because to introduce you to our audience. So we'll start with you, Fabian.
Yeah, I'm Fabian Forde, Director of Football at Kettering Town. Recently taken over with George and Nadia. And yeah, that's it really. Do you want to do history now? Or
No, we'll come on to that.
Okay.
Go on, George.
George, owner of Kettering Town Football Club. Really excited about the onwards journey.
Good. So you say you listen or watch the podcast. What's your podcast of choice, Fabian?
My podcast of choice.
Yeah. What's the one that you have to listen or watch?
So I'm trying to be down with the kids, as they say. So I watch a bit of Filthy Fellas with my sons.
Okay.
I watch Stephen Bartlett.
Yeah.
I like Peter Crouch podcast.
Yeah, brilliant, that one.
And
Overlap
as well. Overlap's brilliant. I really like their format they got over there. I watch all sorts, and being an Arsenal fan, I watch all of their Arse vlogs and Arsecast extras.
Arsenal TV?
No, not so much.
Who's the guy that does
Robbie.
Arsenal? Yeah,
Robbie.
He's quite local, you know. His lad plays in Wellingborough.
Yeah.
At Redwell Leisure Centre.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
At Redwell?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
My brother-in-law's a gooner, and he's seen him there a couple of times.
Oh, okay.
But at first I thought he was winding me up. I was thinking, what's the connection there? But yeah. So, and what about you, George?
A lot of the same Filthy Fellas, overlap. Legends of Manchester United. Love hearing their stories.
I forgot Arthur. United fan, man. I know.
So some really, really good stories. Actually, some really touching ones as well. For example, listen to Andy Cole. Didn't realise his journey.
Yeah.
So just listening to that, and then just everybody that I aspire to be like musicians, people that are influential for me. So I like to listen to their journeys.
Brilliant. So I've invited you on here because, well, obviously your association with Kettering Town or the ownership of Kettering Town. And we were talking just while Arthur was setting up there about, I think everybody in Northamptonshire and further afield, but well, not everybody further afield, but certainly people in Northamptonshire have got some sort of memory of the Poppies. Whether that was Rockingham Road when they played there for their Weetabix Youth Alliance team in the finals, because that was finals day. One of those 39 days where Gazza was in charge, or whether or not their dad or their nan used to take them when Ron Atkinson was involved, etc. There's so much history there. Mm-hmm. And now it's a new era. How did it come about? Because you're not local, are you? You're Watford based, yeah?
Yeah.
So just, who wants to start? Tell us about when this first came on the table, the opportunity.
Me and Fabian been school friends since school, so...
Because you both played a bit as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
Who was a better footballer?
Me.
George was. I was stronger and quicker, but you were better.
No, I mean, Fabian was you talk about superheroes or idols. Like, I looked up to Fabian. He was a year older than me growing up, but we supported each other all the way. And, when he made it pro, as far as I was concerned, I made it pro. It was like a brotherhood. And we talked regularly, and he knew about my journey with coaching, trying to buy land, etc., and all this kind of stuff. And then we just spoke one day, and I just Fabs, I think I might try and buy a football club. That's the route.
But was it like, just talk me through that? Was that always a dream, or was it a case of, do you know, I want something new?
Shall I be honest with you? No, it wasn't. It was more. I've done all my coaching badges. I've coached at a good level.
Football's been a big part of your life since. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've coached at Arsenal, coached at Tottenham, coached at Watford. and the last 4 years coached at Luton, and Luton's been an unbelievable journey.
Yeah.
Imagine going into the Premier League with that club.
Is Marvin Johnson still down there? Do you know Marvin Johnson? He was a coach at Luton a few years ago, 10, 12 years. Sorry, anyway.
Depending what age group. But yeah, and it was just one of them ones. I was just saying, well, look, if these doors are going to always forever be closed. For example, my last year I was working with Yunus Kabul, who was at Tottenham. I'm not going to get out of these guys, no matter how good I am. And people were wonderful at the club. Yunus Kabul was unbelievable for me. This opportunity came about buying a club. So whether I would have worked for a club or owned a club, I know the dynamics are slightly different. My passion for a football club is still the same. So that's how it came about.
And when you got the phone call, or when he told you, was it a phone call, or were you face to face when he said?
No, initially it was a phone call, and I was like, oh wow, because it's always been a dream of mine, to be honest. From when I stopped playing football, I helped him out with coaching a little bit, but it wasn't for me. My kids are budding footballers as well, so I'm up and down the country with them. But I've always, in the back of my mind, thought, it'd be lovely to own a football club or being part of the ownership of a football club.
Yeah.
And so it's always been almost like a pie in the sky dream sort of thing. So when it came through, I was like, oh wow, this
Any
might
danger?
be. Yeah.
Come on, mate. But if we just go back, Fabian, how old were you when you stopped playing professionally?
Professionally, 22, and then I went non-league, semi-professional.
And how was that? How did you find that transition to go pro with Watford to go to non-league? Because the reason I say that is I've been fortunate to sit down and have chats with a number of different professional footballers at different levels. And I feel that the authorities and the sporting bodies don't do enough for individuals to help them for that day, whether they're 22 or 32.
Yeah.
It should be gradual. We've climbed that mountain together. We should climb down together slowly. Whereas I feel, an outside looking in, it's almost like coming off a cliff, and it's a big drop down to reality. How did you find that?
Exactly that. I can remember having my exit meeting with the manager in charge at the time, and he pretty much just said, "Thanks for everything. See you later." After all my service that I've been there. And yeah, there was no like, well, let's try and help you. Let's try and get you something. Let's try and work together. It was just see you later. So I packed up my bags and off I went. I didn't have an agent at the time. It was a bit of a shock. So
you weren't expecting it?
I wasn't really expecting it. So yeah, I had to try and work my way back into the Football League. I started at Crawley Town.
Yeah.
Didn't really work out. And non-league football is not what it is now. In early 2000s, it was a lot of unexperienced coaches, unprofessional coaches, and it was just not ideal football for an ex-pro coming down to that level. Some people, don't get me wrong, some people could, but I just couldn't. I just couldn't.
It's a completely different.
Yeah, it was a different environment, different circumstances, and I was
worlds apart.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to go abroad, but I had a young family at the time, so it just wasn't ideal.
Yeah, and your son plays professionally now.
Two of them, yeah. Well,
do they both?
Yeah. One's at Watford, and one's at Arsenal.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Take after the mum, that is.
So I'm intrigued about because I love business and I love sport, and like how these, I think they're actually very closely aligned about having people playing the right position, etc. But how did Kettering approach you? Was it somebody that said, actually, George, you need to come and meet these, or like how did that go about?
So as I say, I work very closely with the FA. So doing all my badges, I've got some mentors at the FA, and I was on a talent ID course in November, and I said to one of my tutors, I said, I think I might have to buy a football club. Like, can you help? And he said, well, it's funny you say that. There's a lot of clubs. You know, and then I think early January he sent me a photo. I've still got it, a WhatsApp photo saying this owner here of Kettering Town is selling this club. So I reached out to my football contacts who are high-end football agents, and I said, does anybody know this guy? I need to make contact with him. And one guy said, yes, what's up? And I said, I'd be interested. And he said, do you want me to broker a deal? And even up until the day of buying the club, when I was in Barclays Bank, I thought, nah, this nothing. It's going to collapse. So, this is too good to be true. But look, I'm a firm believer in what's meant to be. I'm a firm believer of doing good, and good will come to you. No one's going to hide mine and Fabian's passion for football.
Yeah.
And this is where we belong. And hopefully, we'll do the club proud.
No, I'm sure you guys are, just having met you for not very long, but I can see the passion sort of oozing out of both of you. When that process, because for a transaction deal, business deal, that's actually not we're sitting here in end of June. This will be going out early part of July, but even still, there's still a quick time for that deal to be done. During that time, were there any sort of, I get the hesitation, it could collapse. I'm sure it's like that with any big deal, but what's the one defining moment that you both were looking forward to? Was it the day that it was announced to the press? Is it the first pre-season game? Is it the first home game of the season? What's the one thing that you were both looking forward to the most, Fabian?
I think when the deal got finalised on the Friday, I think that's what we were looking forward to most. So we both jumped in the car and drove straight up there to the ground.
We didn't know what we was doing or who was going to be. Let's just
who
go.
Was going to be there? We didn't know if the gates were going to be open or not.
We didn't have keys.
We've got to climb over.
Just to go, this is us.
Yeah.
So
that's what we look forward to the most. And don't get me wrong, we understand the magnitude of what it is of owning a football club, and the pressure that the fans bring as well. So don't get me wrong, we understand
passionate
that.
fan base,
very passionate.
The one thing that got me is just how far away everybody is. Like, you got international fans, typically families or gents, and I know you've got female fans as well, obviously, but that maybe emigrated or live abroad, but they still follow the Poppies, quite passionately.
Very passionate. Yeah.
But what was your first? Take us back to your first memory of when you got to Latimer Park. What did you think?
Honestly,
yeah.
I don't even know if I'm allowed to swear, but I remember,
you can.
I remember me and Fabs walked out and went, "Geez, what an absolute shit show!" Like, there's fabulous people there, and we've inherited an unbelievable,
fantastic
board.
The volunteers,
amazing, absolutely amazing.
But it was just like, how could this club be run like this? And this is no disrespect to previous owners, by the way. It was just, I think, this is just a sleeping giant. This isn't a club that should be where it is now. And I've said to everybody, I said, this ain't rocket science. I said, like, there's a lot of things here that are easily fixable. Like, you hear about clubs with millionaire owners come in. I think there's a team down the road, Real Bedford, who just...
crypto boys.
Like, we could walk away tomorrow and,
I didn't
the club
believe in
would
all
still
that.
be safe.
What do I know?
So, yeah, we could walk away tomorrow and the club would still be safe in terms of the fan base, the legacy, the history, the volunteers, the supporters. But we just felt straight away that the club just needs a bit of direction. And that will go a long way, I think.
And what about you, George? During that process before the deal was done, what was the one thing that you were looking forward to, like visualising? I can't wait for that.
It was, sadly for me, my father passed away a couple of years ago. So that was one thing that I kept saying to myself, geez, if only he was here. Yeah. If only he was here. And even a good friend of mine, Marvin Morgan, who's is an ex-professional footballer as well, like Fabian, they would be the first people that I'd always pick up the phone to and say, hey, this or that. So that was always in the back of my head. So that aside, it was more just kind of just sinking our teeth into it, putting our footprint on this club. And then I guess a lot of people don't realise, but a lot of the work goes on off season.
Yeah.
So for us now,
it's been a busy.
Let's get to the first game of the season.
Very busy.
Yeah.
I know. Well, I know how difficult it was to pin you both down for this. This is why I'm so grateful for you to come in. So, just on that, and just forgive me for my naivety, but this is very much full time for both of you, because obviously you've got a very successful coaching business as well. But Kettering Town is very much this is us now. I know it's not 9 till 5, but. We're in this 24/7 effectively.
Very much so, yeah. So we both got our successful businesses that we run, and we was talking about on the way up here. Kettering Town is a fantastic opportunity, but we still have to make sure that we're looking after our businesses as well.
Yeah, which is no easy feat.
No, yeah. So yeah, my family haven't seen a lot of me recently.
You'll be single by Christmas. No, you won't. But What's the dream then?
It's funny you say that. We were talking about that up here.
Yeah.
Listen, this club should be conference minimum, and I think the longest stretch it was in the conference was 21 years at one point.
Yeah.
You know, so that's got to be the minimum. Like for us to get back in the conference is a 5-year goal. Like obviously we want to get it done well before that, but we're not under no illusion that it's gonna take a lot of money, a lot of sacrifices. But listen, why not? What wouldn't it be great to say? Me and Fabs and Nadia were the first, you know, owners to get this club into the Football League. Like, why not? You know.
And with the when you look at stories of other non-league clubs that have got owners, am I right in thinking that it's the club with the biggest playing budget usually does the best in that non-league level because of how competitive it is? You need to have those 3 or 4 standout players that are probably going to be the difference between maybe finishing top or 7th or 8th. Would that be a fair assessment?
It can be. Money doesn't guarantee everything, as you know, being a Liverpool fan.
15
He's not
love.
smiling. He's not smiling.
That didn't go that well.
Like a fart in a spacesuit.
But yeah, money doesn't guarantee everything, and there are loads of clubs in this league that are literally throwing money at it. We've spoken to a lot of players over the last 10 weeks, and yeah,
because some of them, I look at, I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
When you look at some of the budgets that some of the teams have got, and then the other part of me is like, is it any wonder why sometimes clubs get into financial difficulties when they've been having player budgets of X or Y?
Yeah.
You think no, it's not, because if you're charging 10 or 12 quid on the gate and you're getting 500-600, you don't have to be Carol Vorderman to work it out that it ain't going to be sustainable.
Not at all. And if you look at Colville, they've had to close their men's team down.
Really?
Yeah, recently, and they're in our league. So we've always said we're going to run it as sustainable as possible.
Yeah.
There's a rich history here at Kettering, 152 years. We're not coming in here to ruin that.
You've got a really strong youth setup as well. Silvano took me over, it's probably about a year ago when he sort of got involved in, it was just before, I think it was probably about this time last year. And I'd been to Latimer Park as a coach when I think it was Burton Park Wanderers played there. Mm-hmm. Like I'm going back 6-7 years. And if you think what you thought when you first went there, times that by 10, and that's what it was like 5-6 years ago. I mean, because I was very, very impressed with what the volunteers have done there. Yeah. And then when I said to Silvano, I was like, I couldn't get, and he's like, Ben, he said, these are some of the best, and he's a successful businessman in his own right. Yeah. Wonderful guy. He's got a smile that will light up a room. And he said, Ben, these are some of the best people that I've ever worked with. Yeah, and he's worked with hundreds over the years. And the volunteers and the passion, and there was you have to forgive me because I can't remember their names, but I think it's a mother and daughter that were doing the catering upstairs. And he was like, they've been here all day preparing for something, but they're all volunteers. But I was very impressed with the setup. And then it was on, I think it was a Friday afternoon, and then there was this influx of cars, and there must have been like a kids tournament or something that was going on, or training session. And then he took me down in the main entrance, and on the wall you got all the pictures of the kid, and I was like, I just thought you'd have one under 12s team or one under 8s team, and you've got so many. How big a part is that going to be for you guys going forward in terms of opportunities for young kids to progress within the football club and hopefully make it into the first team?
And that's what we want. That's one of our ethoses, is to get the young kids in and around Kettering to want to be playing for Kettering, and obviously understanding that is the goal for them to achieve. So yeah, we do have a opportunity now for our under 18s to come and train with us, but sometimes that gap is a bit too big. So what we're going to also
between 18s and first team.
Yeah. So what we're going to try and do is try and bridge that gap slightly and try and introduce an under 21s team. So that's one of the goals.
Is there a specific 21s league then?
Yes, there's a specific 21s league. There's a few actually. So there's a few that we can enter into. Yeah.
And with that, would that be a separate like coaching team, or would that be the 18s?
That'd be probably a separate coaching team, because I think the schedule's kind of
quite full on.
Yeah. So that'd be a separate. But yeah, that's one of the things. But yeah, we just want all the young kids that join the academy to aspire to reach their goals of playing in Kettering Town's first team.
And pre-season, who have we got lined? Have we got pre-season fixtures confirmed now?
Yes, yeah. So we've got Melton on the 6th.
Yeah, good team.
Yeah, very good team. Real Bedford on the next weekend.
Melton, they played opposite Jamie Vardy. Their home ground's bang opposite Jamie Vardy's house.
Oh, really?
The year when they won it and everyone was round their house. I was with Whitworth Reserves in Wellingborough, and we played Melton away.
Yeah.
I was like, I know that house from Sky Sports. And then one of the opposition said, yeah, Jamie Vardy lives there. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, go on. So Melton at home, yeah?
Melton, Real Bedford, Boston, and I've forgotten the last two. On the 27th and the 3rd of August, so we've got 2 others as well.
And are the fixtures out yet for the season?
No,
July the 15th.
July the 15th.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
This will be going out just before that, I think. So, and again, conscious because you're not sort of from Northamptonshire, have you had a chance yet to sort of reach out to the other sort of clubs in it? And I'm looking at the Cobblers, for example, because it lends itself perfectly for next season for you to have a pre-season with them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
have you reached out to the guys there?
Yeah,
Kelvin,
yeah.
Kelvin Thomas, the chairman, great guy.
Yeah.
James Whiting's the, I think he's the CEO. Again, great guy. But they've got a real strong setup there. Yeah. So if you haven't already, definitely reach out to them. They're
we've
good
got
guys.
good links with the first team management there as well.
Yeah.
I think, truth be told, and we already said it in the fans forum as well. I said for us to invite these teams down there, we have to be at that level. Which, no disrespect to us, we're not quite at that level, and it's not an inviting prospect. The other thing is that the pitch. Now we've spent nearly £20,000 on the pitch this year, which shows our investment into the club. Not only to have a better playing surface for the lads and all of our teams, but also to make sure games ain't off. So yeah, we're kind of planting seeds now, with the view of definitely next year getting the Arsenals down here, the Watfords down here, the Northamptons down here as well. So between us, we've definitely got good links like that. But I think we need to just kind of get our house in order.
So we've got the 5-year plan and the dream. Realistically, if we a bit like a business plan, if you break that down into this first 12 months, what does success look like for you? If we're having this conversation in May the 10th. 2025, what does success look like for that season?
So the goal between all of us and the first team management team, we've set out our goal of trying to win promotion this season. By all means, it's not an easy feat. So yeah, we're going to aim to get promoted automatically. Yeah. But if we finish in the top 6, that'd be fantastic. We're going to have a lot of hot, stiff competition, and so we fully understand this league it's not an easy league to get out of. But yeah, if we're sitting here May 25th and we're top 6, that's fantastic. Top 10, it is what it is, but we're going to give it our best shot. And
anything to? Oh, he said it all there, only really.
Yeah, I mean, look, from the points tally from where we were last year to the playoffs, it was 21 points. Now, there's a lot of things that should have been fixed last year weren't. So if you talk about the controllables that weren't controlled, if we can control them this year, i.e. have a good pre-season, there's 21 points between where we were and playoffs. That's 7 victories. I don't think we won at home for the first God knows how many games. Yeah. So if you look at all them things there, the gap isn't too big. But like Fab said, there's a lot of stiff competition. For us, 12 months' time, I think success will be to flirt with the playoffs, if not get into the playoffs, and let's see what happens.
And I'm intrigued as well because with most football takeovers, it's very rare that the owners are so willing to football in terms of qualified like you guys are. The only one I could think of would obviously be Salford because obviously they're all ex-coaches, although Gary didn't do that great at Valencia. But obviously he's a superb businessman and he was an exceptional professional footballer. And I don't mean this to sound like how it's going to come out, but I'm just going to say it. How will you find it difficult, and you might not be able to answer this, that to have that sort of chairman stroke owner's hat on, but actually go, I've got 20 odd years of experience here. I've got my UEFA A or my UEFA B, whatever. I want I want to be in the changing room. I want to be on the coach. Do you know what I mean?
I want to get my boots on.
Yeah, exactly.
Labs ain't listening to this. Yeah. Sorry, Labs. No, listen.
Yes,
No, look, I've said it before. Look, I've got my A license. I want to get my pro license. This is what I do. I love developing players, but yeah, I've actually put my business hat on now as well, because in order to make this work, we've got to get the business side of it right. We've made it really clear to Labs that we're here to support and actually use us as a comfort blanket, because like you said, there are not many that you're going to get owners who know football. So you're not going to outdo me and Fabs for knowledge and experience and contacts. And we're here as a comfort blanket for you. But ultimately the decisions come down to him. He's the manager, because we don't want to be them people where, just
It's going to be difficult. And because I remember, I think I don't know if it was a podcast or an interview that I read with Gary Neville. I think it was like the second season or third season that he had Salford. Actually, it might have been the documentary, and he got to the point where if he was that unhappy on a match day that he was there, he used to just have to drive off, go home, because he didn't want to be that owner to go in and give his opinion from a footballing perspective, because he was so much more knowledgeable. It's a difficult one. I don't envy you there at all, because there are going to be games which you're going to lose that you should have won, and but then there's also going to be those last minute winners that you shouldn't have won, and you've nicked 1-0 in the 90th minute. I think it's going to be fascinating. So we're coming towards the end. Commercially, whilst the fan base is really important to any football club, commercials and sponsorships and commercial deals and sponsors from local businesses are also really important. What message have you got for local business owners that are perhaps watching or listening to this and they think, actually, do you know what? Because I think the first ever sponsor for Kettering Town was Kettering Tyres.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's plenty of businesses that are listening to this that have perhaps done something with the Poppy in the past, but not more recently. Why should they get back involved?
Just follow us on this journey. It's going to be up and down. It's going to be hectic, but yeah, it's going to be so exciting. And to have your name attached to it and be on this journey with us would be fantastic. And that's all we ask for them.
I just think, just to add to that, really probably the doors to Kettering Town at Latimer Park have probably been closed to a lot of people. Yeah. I think even location wise, that we actually even exist in Burton Latimer. Without trying to sound like a salesman, but this is what I've now had to become. We've got wonderful facilities at the club, hospitality suites, we've got boardrooms, we've got classrooms. We've got so much that if local businesses want to get involved, I think there's a huge opportunity for them to showcase what they're about with the platform that we can give them. And I think, like you said, we're under no illusion that clubs even higher than us in the Football League are so reliant on companies and sponsors. So if there is anybody out there, get in touch. Come along on the journey with us. It's going to be fun.
I know there's some sponsors evenings or events planned, which we'll put the details out on our social media a bit closer to the time. If there's one player that fans should watch out for, or one reason why somebody should come down on a Saturday and watch, who's the player of the season to watch this year for you, Fabian?
For me, I don't want to single out players.
Just one.
We've got an exciting winger, Tyree Wilson, who just recently signed. Him and his stepdad came over on Saturday, actually. Really lovely people. So, yeah, they should be really excited by him. Really dynamic, fast, skillful attacker, knows where the goal is.
Right footer, left footer?
Right footer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, starts on the left, cuts in on the right. Yeah, you should be really excited.
Excellent. What about for you?
You know what? For us, we've been so strategic about who we've been signing. Mm-hmm. So, for example, we just signed a young lad called Sadiq. He was the player of the season at the whole league at Step 4.
Really?
So, and he comes in as a quite a colossal figure, very dominant. So
what position will he play?
Centre back.
Yeah.
So there's going to be
big, strong centre arm.
Yeah, 3 or 4. We've got Connor as well, who's come back. He's a bit of a local lad, bit of a legend. So. You know what? Like Fab just said, I don't think you could pinpoint one. Yeah. We're creating a bit of a Galacticos.
Yeah, we are.
No pressure.
Real Bedford don't know what they've got. It'll be the El Clasico.
Watch out for the Invincibles.
Brilliant. What we always ask our guests on the podcast before we let them go is if there's having a dinner party tomorrow night, they can invite three Free guests, parcel present, could be anybody you want. Who would you have? Fabian, we'll start with you.
I'd have Andy Cole.
Andy Cole.
I would have Jamie Foxx, the actor, comedian. And I would have Dead or Alive?
Yeah.
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson?
Yeah.
Good dinner table. Like that.
For me, Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
I love my music. So Keith Sweat.
Oh, Keith Sweat.
Yeah.
Going back.
Yeah, going back.
Arthur, do you know who Keith Sweat is?
No, he's not ready. He's not ready. He's not ready.
I'm going to put it on in the... I'm going to get Alexis to make Keith Sweat in a minute. You haven't lived, mate.
And Brazilian Ronaldo, R9.
The original.
Yeah.
Bit of a language barrier there. Not much going on around the dinner table.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Listen, I've really enjoyed meeting you. I sincerely wish you all the best for this season and beyond. We're definitely going to come down for a game or two and cheer the Poppers on. And for anybody listening and watching this, give the Poppers a follow on social media. Let's follow their journey and support them on their journey to success this season.
Yeah, come down, get behind the team. Yeah, we'd love to see you down there.
Well done.
Sure.
Thank you, gents.
Thank you so much.
No, thanks for having us. Appreciate it.